The duck calls and swaggers with a silly grin. Quack, quack. He tells again to come again. Tonight we'll have fun and dance the samba, the samba, the samba. The big goose decides he'd like to come along. Quack, quack. To join the party with the song. Tonight let's have fun and join the chorus. Won't you come have some fun?
Hey, this is Ross Payton with Roleplaying Public Radio. This is RPPR episode 154, Party Fowl. We're going to be talking about Party Fowl, Caleb and Spencer's new card game, or board game, depending on how you want to define it.
Both a card game
I think
with
board,
a board
trumps cards.
Okay.
Like many board games include cards, and if there's a board element, it becomes a board game. So it's a board game.
Okay. All right.
A modular board game featuring cards.
Did we mention it's on Kickstarter May 23rd, the day this episode should be posted if producer Ross stays out of the fireball, which we really just have to cross our fingers for. But
I blame you. You're the only one really to blame for that.
Are we? Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely how that works. Said by alcoholics throughout the ages. You're the reason I drink.
You're the one who introduced me. We're going to be talking about the game, how it got started, where it's at right now, and what to expect. And then, of course, we will have some duck-themed shout-outs and anecdotes. And but first, we have a bit of news. Aside from Party Fowl, please back the Kickstarter. Check it out.
Please.
Be sure to watch Caleb's excellent tutorial video, which explains
incredible how to play video.
Yeah.
Apple Keynote has some uses, which I just discovered.
Totally.
After owning a Mac for no less than 7 years.
We actually, the crazy thing
I
is
wonder
that
what else this crazy thing can do.
Yeah.
we now have 2 videos in the span of a week when we had no videos in the 2 weeks leading up to the Kickstarter launch.
It's been a rough May for me.
Caleb has really leaned into this how to play video, and then while we're here, we should probably shout out the guys from Blend Studio for throwing together a wonderful trailer video for us in literally the matter of like a day.
Yes.
Super awesome.
Thank you very much.
You can also find that on the Kickstarter page and on the website, www.partyfowlthegame.com.
Which will be linked to on the show notes. But we also have some other news. Caleb and I are going to Origins for the first time. It starts June 12th or 13th.
So would you call this your Origins story?
Hey.
Awesome point.
Nice. Yeah. We should have you on
I
more
love how
episodes.
we stopped playing the game and you're still collecting awesome points.
You people need to reward me for my puns all the time. So, yeah.
Rewarding puns. I'm not sure how I feel
we
about
don't do that here.
I'm just going to be wandering the con. Feel free to @me on Twitter or whatever, or on the RPPR Discord. If you want to hang out, if you are there, I'll bring Base Raiders and Caleb bringing the Red Market, so I might run games. I don't know what I'll be doing, try to interview game designers, blah, blah, blah. But Caleb, you're actually doing things.
Yes. I will most often be at the IGDN booth working it. I have to work for 12 hours. 6 is the main booth person and 6 is a backup. So if you want to find me, statistical likelihood is I am going to be there. But I will also be running a game of Red Markets from 10 to 2 on Thursday, the opening day of the con. Going to try the second con packet we're going to deploy at Gen Con this year.
Oh, that's cool.
And give that a run through. And then I will be running Party Fowl from 2 to 4 Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Damn, girl.
Which is twice as long as it takes to run Party Fowl. So if you didn't get a ticket for any of those games, show up around 3. We will have been done for a while, and I will be just soliciting random people off the street to come play my dumb duck game. So I could do that. And then I will probably be doing stuff after the con, hanging out. Sarah will be there. I will probably need to eat food at some point. Yeah. So we'll have lots of things like that. I have been asked a couple of times how to get beer to me at Origins. For the Mix 6.
Heyo.
I would say this, please, if you're going to give me beer, make sure it's near the end of the day when I am heading back to my Airbnb. The reason I say that is not because I'm just too lazy to lug it around. I don't want to give your favorite beer a 1 because I lugged it around in the sun all day at a con.
Right.
Beer needs to travel well. And also, don't refrigerate it if you can, because the temperature fluctuations are also not good for beer. It can stay hot in the back of a truck as long as there's no sun on it. But once you refrigerate it and start getting it warm again and start re-refrigerating it,
bad.
That's also not great for the beer chemistry. So that has been our Mix 6 beer lesson in the middle of this RPPR episode,
Honestly,
promoting our Foul Mouth Games game, Party Fowl.
We've got some branding issues.
We are confused.
Well,
so that's
the Peyton verse is big.
Yeah. So that's where I'm going to be at
Thank you,
Origins.
Spencer. I like that term. Yeah. So
Single greatest crossover event in history.
exactly. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Way bigger than Scooby-Doo Supernatural.
That's
one.
right.
I think there's some other thing. I don't remember.
Don't believe that.
Yeah. So
Was it Thanos in Fortnite?
that's yeah. Why did you choose
definitely
Thanos?
Thanos.
He hasn't been popular in a while. Just a big '90s comeback, I guess. So yeah, let's talk about Party Fowl.
Let's fucking do it.
Yeah, Party Fowl is a very fun game. But
thanks.
where did it come from? Like that was that's sort of the real question. Is like why Ducks at a Party?
Well, we had a couple of ideas for different games that I still want to do eventually.
Right. We'd been running down one game, though, for like a solid 6 months.
Yeah.
Just like kind of talking about mechanics here and there.
But I was going into shop at Price Cutter, and we were talking about our college days, and we came up with, I just instantly saw the layout of the house we used to party in, and then I saw it like a board game, and then the mechanics just sort of came to me in a shot, and they actually haven't changed too terribly much since
That's
then.
been the crazy part.
So I speed texted the entire idea to Spencer.
Yeah.
And then we decided that we'll get together later that week, get drunk, and hash it out. So a couple 6-packs and a whiteboard later, that was May 26th.
May 26th, 2017.
So it's been kind of a roller coaster ride since then.
Almost a year to the day from literal sitting down at my kitchen table, whiteboarding a thing, and then now on Kickstarter. And to your point, like look, we've been through iterations and we've tested the shit out of this thing, but like the core mechanics of the game are those that we drafted on a whiteboard, not particularly sober, a year ago.
Yeah, it's very different from me than when I've designed an RPG, which it very much comes theme first and then develop a mechanic afterwards. We had the mechanics first, and we're going to develop a theme afterwards, but we realized a lot of people probably didn't want to play us.
Right.
Being drunks in college.
Yeah. No.
So we needed a theme greater than that. And then came the puns, and really they took the wheel.
That was over.
Things got out of control. It became a game about drunk ducks, and we just drove that into the ground and then through the mantle of the earth. And
it's been one of those things too where once the like theme kind of caught on, and Caleb and I would sit there, and whoever was playtesting with us would sit there, and just like kind of a natural duck pun would emerge in the moment. But as we started to test it more and more, and then we started to get on social media and push it to people, we also just started getting a bunch of duck puns sent to us and at us.
Oh, yes. A big part of this game is owed to the RPPR group me's obsession with punditry.
Well, and like, the people on Facebook and Twitter who, we've put out a couple of calls for like, some duck puns about insert random thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the course of an hour, had 6 or 7 pages of duck puns in a Google Doc.
Yeah.
The theme took hold really hard for us. It's pretty much how we communicate anyways, hence all the awesome points.
I do want to bring up one point that's kind of related. So the Red Market's Kickstarter was launched on May 23rd, 2016. You have the idea for Party Fowl May 26th, 2017. You're launching this Kickstarter May 2018. So basically, late May is really a important time.
It's almost as if there's a force in my life which only allows me to live said life 2.5 months at a time.
Yeah,
I don't know what it could be though. It's almost like it occurs roughly at the same time
astrology.
every year. Yeah, it's definitely astrology. I think it's because I'm a Libra. But yeah, school gets off at the same time every year, guys. So when I can do game work becomes roughly the same time of the year.
I don't think I knew that Red Markets was launched 2 years to the day before Party Fowl.
I did not either until Sarah told me. So
yeah,
it's just
crazy.
I just launch and do stuff when school's out.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had the game. We did a bunch of real ghetto prototypes. Just
rough.
Like marker on index card level prototypes. Some things were kind of clunky, especially near the beginning. We had the plus point, minus point room pairing thing.
We had some scoring issues, and we also had we experimented with the idea of what we ended up calling bound quactions. So like one of the puns in the game is players don't take actions, they take quactions. You can draw, you can move, or you can play. We had this idea for a while, and actually probably ran this down for a solid 2 months.
Oh yeah.
Of what if you could only draw, move, and play in that order, and if you didn't need to do all three of those things, then you just wasted some turns.
We also had this idea for like animosity between rooms,
Yep.
like the people on the deck that talk about sports hate the people in the basement that talk about games.
Yeah.
And so like there weren't foul cards. There were like play a games card on the deck to lose somebody points.
Right.
And it got really convoluted. But like most games, when you just start cutting stuff away from it, you're like, oh, wow, it's actually fun now. And we lessened the rules to the point where we got rid of the rules that weren't strategically interesting.
Yeah, it is one of the weird things to me. So this is like the first real time I've been through, the robust process of game design. I mean, we talk through like game mechanics all the time. But it's just so crazy to me to see how inside your own world you get on this stuff. Because, when we landed on the idea of bound quactions, as we called them, there was like a solid 6 week where I'm like, this is fucking brilliant. This is the game mechanic that's going to change board gaming. You know what I mean? And then we did one play test without it. And
I had to convince you to do.
Argue for. Actually, it was Brandy at one point.
Yeah.
It was just like, this seems dumb.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. And we did one play test without it. I was like, oh my God, this is a much better game. I mean, it is funny how inside your own head you get on this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think part of this process for me has been the idea, not the idea that you have to like worry about sacrificing ego or identity, but the idea that even when you feel like you've made solid progress, you need to be open to experimentation past that point.
Your perspective is not necessarily correct.
That's
like,
right.
It's very easy just to assume that you're right.
That's right.
And that's super common in game design. It's a super hard thing to break out of.
Well, and for me, I think one of the things that really helped was coming to the realization that there was no timeline here that wasn't artificially set by us. And so even if I felt like we'd already solidified a thing, there's always time to play it one other way to see if that makes the game better.
Yeah.
And once I came around to that, and I saw it start to work, you would suggest, like, what if we just tried, a different scoring system? And I was like, okay. I mean, I feel pretty good about this one. And then we were half a game into the next one. I was like, motherfucker. Okay.
Yep.
Well,
that's game design.
Right.
Yeah. That simultaneous sort of furiousness at yourself.
Yeah.
And elation that the game got better.
Right.
And it sort of equals out. So like, shit.
Yeah.
Into an emotion. So yeah. So we did that. One thing that we had in this project that I hadn't had in other projects is that at no point when we came up with this, considering we came up with the mechanics pretty much so instantly, did I think like, well, maybe this will just be a thing and it goes nowhere.
Right.
Like, which is where I was at for a lot of places, even at Red Markets at points. I was just like, well, maybe it'll never get off the ground. But at this point, we knew we wanted to make it a thing from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So we kind of started looking for art very early. And so we thought about artists we knew. Casey Green, of course, has done a lot of fantastic work for RPPR.
Hey-o.
And I am kind of intimidated by him because he's such an internet legend. So before I was thinking about like telling him to like, I made a game about drunk ducks. Would you be interested in it? I did read every webcomic he's ever made before and found that there's a solid 2 weeks of Gun Show, which is nothing about drunk ducks.
Yeah.
It's just about drunk ducks. Drunk duck beer. It's perfect. So I'm just like, you're the one in the email. The call has been made. And he thankfully said yes. So we started cranking out art
Like 3 months
before Metatopia.
Yeah.
Well before Metatopia.
We mapped the game on May 26th. Metatopia was in early November.
Yeah.
We already had characters. We had some concept designs. We had a logo. I mean, we were like deep in art by the time we went to Metatopia.
So that was our first self-imposed sort of deadline was Metatopia in November. And I've never been before, so I thought it was very much like showing off games to other people. In that, like, you can acknowledge that it's a prototype, and some people will find that fun. But if it looks too prototypey, no one will get to the mechanics. Right. They will just focus on it looks like you just made shit in your basement.
That's right.
Because you did.
Oh, you have cardstock.
Yeah, exactly. So we really pushed to try and get the prototype looking as good as possible for Metatopia. And then we got there and we realized everyone else was like doing shit on index cards.
Right.
Or they had like a blank sheet of paper. It's like, I had this idea. So I scheduled a playtest.
Yeah.
And there was stuff that was really polished there, but it was also pretty loosey-goosey. They also had just like round tables where it's like, I kind of have an idea for a game. And they're like nothing on paper. And I'm like, oh, wow, we over-prepared for this.
But I think it was good.
It was very good, though, because we got better feedback.
That's right. And if we ever, I know we've talked about going back to Metatopia for other game ideas. Like, I would want to go back with the same, if not more, level of polish.
Yes, I think you get better feedback.
I do too.
I don't regret it. But at the same time, we also ran 7 playtests of Party Fowl.
Yeah.
When everyone else
days.
was like, I ran 3 playtests of 3 separate games.
Yeah.
And we're like, we ran one game as frequently as we possibly could to get as much feedback about that game as we possibly
Well, I think it's very common in game design to not be as sure about something as you guys have been about Party Fowl.
Definitely.
And I think that's why people were bringing like less complete games because they were like, is this even worth putting the time and effort into?
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. I was really intrigued by all the playtests we were in, but yeah, it was very interesting, like my expectations versus the reality of it.
And I think there was like, and we've talked about this in other formats and on other podcasts at this point, like, the whole anxiety of putting your thing out there and letting people who are your target audience evaluate your thing. There was also something that was a little bit risk-free for me because, like you said, we knew we were going to do this. The question was, what, if any, changes did we make because of meaningful feedback at Metatopia? And so it wasn't I think you and I
that was your
agreed on
first
this.
Playtest with Stranger experience too, which you hadn't had. It was people you had to like live with and get along with, which in many ways isn't real playtesting.
Right. And not that those people weren't honest and giving good feedback. It's just like when no one has no association or attachment to you, they're just going to be like, oh, that's fucking stupid.
That actually brings up a question. Have you guys done any blind playtesting where you send out written material to people and like had them try?
We are going to do that on the print and play,
mainly
for the manual document.
Okay.
Yeah. A couple
because
people
that's more common for role playing games because those are just text.
Yeah.
And
no, we're going to use that to tweak the language on the manual document after the Kickstarter because there will be a few months in there where you're waiting for pallets full of games to come back from China if everything goes right and makes.
Right.
And we can use that time waiting for components and white boxes to get the manual packed out and together.
Yeah, that's what we need. That's probably like the one thing that we still need to tweak. We have, though, done enough playtests with Strangers that at this point we've explained the game and then backed off from the table and not done anything.
Yes.
And watched the game operate manually with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And
we've done many where we haven't played at all.
Yeah. Or been involved other than explain the game and then walk away.
That's basically the same,
Right. Yeah. And that's gone that's gone surprisingly well, I guess.
It's really a tech writing test now.
Yeah.
For the manual itself, we don't need the sort of
board game
can people run it without us
right.
thing.
Yeah.
Board game writing must be a different experience for you, Halo, because even compared to role-playing games, there's the
manual for Party Fowl is 400 pages long. Right. It's hardcover.
There will be
high gloss.
follow-up novel.
That was kind of my point.
Right.
Is that you don't get 400 pages. You get like let me guess, it's like a brochure.
We've quoted 8 pages. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
At maximum.
Right.
And that is just because it's going to be a 6x6 box. So it's not going to be. It doesn't need to be 8.
It's a
not,
pamphlet.
Yeah. It's not A4.
That's right.
That's right. Stapled pamphlet. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So Metatopia was great. We pushed ourselves really hard to get what we felt like was a good prototype, and we got really good feedback, not only about the game, but also about the quality of the prototype while we were there. But I think of all the feedback we got about the tangible asset, to see people so overwhelmingly taken with the characters and the art that we'd already produced was like, oh, shit. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was to the point where people were telling us after the games, like, I don't know why you feel the need to do anything else. Just make the rooms and print the thing. People were happy with it. They gravitated towards some of the characters. They embraced making the puns.
And then there was very constructive criticism that made the game better,
even better,
which was awesome. But there was also some negative criticism, which was great for your first playtest experience because it did sort of get overwhelmed because you're going to get that either way.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm to the point where people are still telling me, like, well, don't do this game.
Right.
Do any other game. Because, I'll take it to like a random game store in Springfield and they'll be like, well, it's just a board game.
Right.
Does the world really need another board game? And I'm just like looking around this one of the 8 stores in our town that sells board games. I'm like, apparently yes.
Right. Yeah.
Like, why are we in this building?
Yeah,
otherwise?
math checks out on that
and
one.
so, but it can be very hard to not give that negative sort of stuff too much weight.
Right.
But Metatopia was a really good first experience for that because the overwhelming amount of people were very supportive.
Yeah, for sure.
We had some Mixed Six fans come out.
Super cool.
And that was really great. But
people were bringing red markets and asking you to sign it.
Yeah, it was a weird weekend for me, man.
It was also, I think it was a good experience for us because after we had 2 days where we ran 7 games. I mean, it was a lot of playtesting. We would go get a beer and we would honestly parse what of the feedback we got today, what was meaningful, and what should we do with it. Of the feedback we got today that wasn't meaningful, which is an arbitrary distinction I get in some ways.
But one you have to make.
That's right. Can we just get a little drunker and talk about how absurd all that was? Yeah. And it was nice. It was nice to do. It was like a good way to blow off steam because we got...
I was very glad I was not there by myself,
Oh, yeah.
playtesting a game by myself.
Yeah.
I think I might have the fortitude to do that now, but certainly not when I started designing. It would have all ended up in a trash can, and I would have been crying in a corner.
It was cool. We also, there were a lot of people there who had really great games, and some people who were really great designers. The guys from Flat Out Games, for example, gave us incredibly good feedback. And
Jack from Posthuman Studios.
Yeah, Jack was awesome. We got... Tim Doyle, who was a Red Markets RPPR guy, showed up, and we just got such good feedback from a lot of people. James Burns, people who I think like the stuff that we do, really like your stuff and your stuff, Ross, and we're still willing to sit there. And I think because they like what we do, and because they're just good humans.
I like how you frame that. They like what you do, but they're still willing to sit there.
Well, they're still willing to sit there and be honest with you. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think it would have been easy to show up and be like, "Hey, I love Red Markets. Party Fowl is fun," and a lot of people did show up and were like, "Hey, I love Red Markets. This was a fun game. Here are the things I would do differently." And I really appreciated that level of honesty from almost everyone.
Also, I think we really figured out where our market niche was there because we'd play the game and Metatopia is great, but people are playtesting the new 4X game.
Right.
They're playtesting legacy games. They're playtesting enormous RPGs or really interesting indie mechanics.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work in working your way around it. And we played these games and no, it was fun.
Right.
We laughed. I haven't laughed in a couple of playtest sessions because I was just trying to parse these complex rules. And we just dicked around with our friends and made puns. And I'm like, that's our market. We are not the new Pandemic Legacy Season 3 with ducks.
No.
We are the opener or the closer for a fun half hour to 45 minutes with your friends, and maybe you drink or maybe you don't.
Great fun filler. Great opener.
Yeah.
And that was good to know. You know what I mean? Because I've never experienced it anything else. One of the things that was interesting to me, the feedback we got after the first playtest we had, which was the most nerve-wracking hour of my life. The feedback we got was hey, when you guys sold us this playtest, you were like, it's a dumb game about drunk ducks. But then we started playing it, and it's well, it is, but there's also some strategy here, and there's some good interaction, and there's some
it's
critical
not pure random Amero trash. It's not a roll and move game, which is, I think, another thing people were expecting.
It really is, I think, a sneaky, smart, light strategy game, and I want to emphasize light strategy. There's strategy involved, and there's some really, significant decision making, but it doesn't take itself seriously.
It's not Twilight Imperium.
Exactly, yeah.
Or Scythe.
Right, or Scythe.
Yeah.
And that's been part of the trick, too, and I think, Kate, one of the things that we have struggled with is figuring out how to talk about it, because we don't want to talk about it in a way that
we are in a middle ground.
That's right.
If you say strategy, you expect, you'll be negotiating and backstabbing Feather Lockbeer like a fucking Game of Thrones episode.
Yeah.
And if you say party game, people expect Cards Against Humanity. And if they're me, they have already left.
That's right.
They're a good party game.
There are, but not the people we want them to back this game, but not our target audience, not the people that are going to be oh, I'm very interested with the strategy of this room control mechanic or them giving you different powers.
Yeah.
And we want those people, and we also want people that don't mind having a beer.
Right.
And I think we can appeal to both, but I don't think that's a huge market.
It's just tough,
It's tough to talk about.
Right. We don't want to talk ourselves out of the people who are looking for a substantive game, because it very much is a substantive game.
Yeah.
Throw a different skin on it, and it's just it's just a light strategy game.
Yeah. Make it about war or something instead of drunk ducks.
It's a zone control game.
Yeah.
There you go. The other half of that is not wanting to turn off people who are looking for a fun 30 to 45 minute game to play with their friends for $30. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that has been I would say a challenge is that because it fits so squarely in the middle of a lot of different Venn diagrams.
It's very much the marketing problem we had, which we have actions now called freebies that don't cost quactions.
Right, that's right.
And we were calling those instants.
Yeah.
And the interference we got with Magic crowd people.
Yep.
Trying to do that in a way that was different than the mechanics of the game, it became not worth it.
Right.
Like,
Can you give me an example? Or
well, yeah. So one of the cards, for example, Air Ducts, allows you to move anywhere in the house, right, for free. Originally, that card was called an instant, and so because that has some pretty steeped nomenclature in the board game community, people would assume, oh well, I can play that literally whenever, including not.
They were
on my
using
turn.
it not as instants; they were using it as interrupts.
Right.
Like I'm going to drop a foul on you, and like it's not been my turn for 2 turns, and I play Air Ducts to him. And we're like, well, you can't do that.
Right.
Like, what do you mean? It says instant.
Right.
And like we just couldn't get over that nomenclature. It's like when I had the word outfit on the red markets sheets, and people were writing like, I don't know, blue jeans, like a shirt, and I had to change that to crew because I was just getting very sad every play test.
Yeah.
It's just some words are too weighted before you get there to use.
Yeah.
So, but it's very much like that. It's like some words in marketing the game are too weighted, and we learned that at Metatopia too.
We did.
Then there was the problem of pretty much everything in gaming, since gaming is everyone's second job, shuts down during the holidays.
Yes.
Because everybody has their regular jobs and then they have to travel and go see families. And that sort of holiday hangover usually lasts well into January.
Yeah.
And so we came up with the idea. We had such good feedback from people. And we were ready to go. We were ready to get this thing moving right after Metatopia. And like one of the tragedies I think of Metatopia is like right after that you hit the holidays,
right?
In which freelancing and getting stuff quoted for print and all that kind of stuff
shuts down.
Yeah, grinds to a halt. So we had to get through that, but we really wanted to get towards the end of the year. At times that went too long, and we were like, "Man, can we get this done in time for summer, or do we need to sit on it?" And thankfully, you pushed to move forward because I was getting real skeptical.
Yeah,
and after the 70-hour work week, I'm still pretty skeptical, though I think we'll pull it off.
Yeah,
now I'm just furious at you.
It was definitely. Oh yeah, no, I don't doubt that. I know when this is all over, we are going to get super hammered. There was like definitely this thing. For you, I was always worried that this was just the pressure release from Red Markets, and at some point, it was going to click in your head like, it's been fun to think about something else, but oh my God, why do I want to do this again? For me, it was like, holy shit, like this is a thing, and I think it's got real legs to it, and it's working, and so I'm just going to, like, I just want to keep going. And not that you ever stopped. It's just like, for me, it was, let's just go. You know what I mean? Let's just keep going. And luckily, I didn't have to argue with you. You were just like, yeah, let's keep going. And so we kept going. And the amount of work in particular, you're right. We didn't take a month off. We just did a month where we didn't get as much done as we'd gotten done in the previous 4.
Yeah, that's the problem with game design stuff. You'll slog away at it for months without any tangible benefit.
Right.
And then you'll have like 3 books come out at once.
Yeah.
Or you'll have a ton of stuff that gets turned in all at the same time. And that could be stressful. But the second semester, the winter and spring was very much about testing expansions.
Right.
So we wanted to have expansions and variable play options ready to go before the Kickstarter launched, even though that makes me sick every time I do it. Red Markets taught me that however much you think you need ready before the Kickstarter, it's better if you have more.
Yeah.
And so we play tested the hell out of it with 6 people, 5 people, with additional rooms.
Is that what the
with
expansion
additional
covers?
powers.
Yes.
So there are 2 expansions.
Okay.
There's the Business and Pleasure expansion, which adds the guest bedroom and the home office, and 2 new conversation suites, and another bathroom, bringing up the total to 11 rooms in the house.
It gets to be a pretty substantial game.
And a big deck.
11 room tiles. Yeah.
Add some additional cards to the decks.
Yep.
And you can have up to 6 players playing then. And still, it works pretty dang well.
It works really
and also,
well.
you can play the expansion with 5 people without having to recycle the deck, which you normally do in the base game.
Which is really nice.
So the base game can seat 5, but you normally have to recycle. You don't have to do that with the expansion, and you can seat 6. And considering it's a game that we would like you to play with a drink in hand,
right? Yeah.
With your friends, it's sort of a light party,
right?
I wouldn't mind seeing a college party or something like that with Party Fowl going on in a corner,
right?
I think the fact that it can seat 6 people and it still moves pretty quick,
right?
It doesn't slow slow down too much because you still have 3 quactions.
And there's a lot of interactivity.
And you're always punning each other and fouling each other and stuff like that. I think that's cool. And then we also have the Ducked Up deck, which basically just turns it into a drinking game.
Right.
So that's not required for the mechanics, but if you want to have that off to the side and get a little drunk while you play Drunk Ducks, sort of a role play. It could be immersive if you decide to like get costumes.
I would like for it to be immersive.
Bunch. Yeah. We'll do a LARP expansion too, where you have to waddle around.
I would like to see.
Are you telling people to
play.
get duck fursuits?
Yes.
100%.
So as we did that, we were commissioning more art. More graphic design, and talking about marketing, which is something I had never done before. So do you want to talk about that? Because my marketing was, make sure you talk about it for 4 goddamn years before you actually put it out. And we did not have that this time. We were going to have to do some other stuff.
So it was like really important to me that, I just think there's an interesting transition from making a product and making a business. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so it was really important to me that we didn't just have a product, but that we had a business. And so luckily, we know a bunch of cool people outside of the people we were paying to do the layout and the art, who are very important. But we wanted to have kind of like a full surround here in people to encounter the game, to learn more about the game, to know what was happening with the game. And so we started working with some people on a really like kind, just like, I'm happy to help, and some people on a like freelance contract basis. We started working with people to build, to design and build like this really wonderful, tight little website. Where you can go on and learn more about the game, and you can see, the teaser video that the Blend guys put together for us. You can take a quiz to learn more about what duck you would be. You know what I mean? If you were going to play the game. And so Jared Johnson and Chad Spencer were cool enough to like skin that thing together in like 3 or 4 days and make it super functional and responsive, and then to provide some like follow-up support for us. But it wasn't just, I want you to be able to find us on a website. Obviously, Facebook and Twitter, we've been pretty active on both those social media platforms. And then, of course, Casey has this massive following, and so we've been asking him to be pretty active as well, driving people to the website. Jessica Spencer has also been super awesome. When we decided we wanted to start going to conventions to really sell the thing, Origins, for example, in June, and then beyond at Gen Con, etc., we wanted to have things that we could give out so that people could experience the game, learn more about the game, or just take something home because it's fun and the art is cool. So Jessica Spencer helped us turn the art into stickers, into an expo banner so we had collateral to hand out. And then we wanted to make sure that we were doing the advertising bit right, because so much of your ability to make money in a crowded Kickstarter field, which is where we are. There's just a glut of Kickstarter board games. We wanted to make sure we were doing the marketing thing right, and so we started working with Kyle Drennan, who's this like wonderful content marketer in the area, and developing really targeted Facebook ads and making sure we were Loctite on our Board Game Geek ads, because all of the math says that those things have a really high rate of return. If you pay any time reading the Jamie Stegmaier stuff about the launch of Scythe, he will tell you that part of building the hype train is the return on those Board Game Geek ads. So making sure we've got all of the specs right, and we know when they're running, and we know what the impression count is. So it really has been not just about building a game, which is enough work in and of itself over the course of a year, because we both work full-time, more than full-time sometimes, but also then building a machine around the game so that people can encounter the game on Facebook and Board Game Geek and on social media. And when they encounter the game, they have a place to go, like a website or a Facebook page or the Kickstarter page on May 23rd. And they've got videos. They've got a how-to play demonstration that you've put together that is just wonderful. They can see the art. They can read about the development of the game. It really has been about building a game universe that people could get into. That wasn't just, I'm buying this $30 piece of cardboard. There's just so much more. And honestly, the coordination of all of those people has been like a semi-full-time job over the last couple of months. And figuring out when we're running ads and how much they cost and who's working on them. Man, it's a fucking machine you got to put together.
That's what's been so refreshing about this time, because like I've used Ross's machine as well as I can to do promotion stuff. But I think my website for Red Markets was up 4 months after the game fucking met on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not good at this stuff. Right. I can fake my way through it and but you have to fake your way through it.
Right.
And it's pretty amazing when you have people that know what they're doing.
Right.
And like, there are people in the gaming industry that I've met at Gen Con that are always like super nice, and I very much like hanging out with them.
Yeah.
But like, you meet people like Shane Ivey or Simon Rogers from Pelgrane and stuff like that, and they're just the nice people, and they promote games, and you want to hang out with them, but they're not on a ton of the titles.
Right.
And you're like, well, I wish you would write more. You're really good stuff. And he's like, and then you realize, oh, that's what you're doing. You're the lodestone to this entire thing. Right. They, like, you pull this out, this just collapses, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, wow. Like, because you just, that back end stuff, that's what eats you alive. It's still concerning me about Red Markets and this. So it's just so nice to have help with that, and so nice to have someone that knows what they're doing with that, and coordinate it. But this is the rule for Kickstarters everywhere now, and it was true for Red Market, and it's definitely true for Party Fowl. That requires money before you go ask for money. Yeah. And so we are at the place where we are before every Kickstarter, which is if this doesn't meet, or if this is the day the bubble collapses and you're listening to this on Black Wednesday or whatever, I'm jumping out of the nearest window. And it's a first-story house, but that's just the way you got to do it on Black Wednesday. So it's not going to be a particularly effective suicide, but man, I'm all in on Party Fowl. I put all my money, all my chips on Duck.
It's it has been a curious thing. So I'm not going to hide how stressed I am. Like, I'm very stressed.
No, that's not what this is about. We're pretty forthright about things here.
I have been a little bit pukey every day for like the last month.
And we're 11 days out. It gets way better.
Yeah, Caleb and I have both been through more than a few Kickstarters.
Right.
This is your first
This
Kickstarter.
is my first one. I mean,
where you're the creator. Yeah.
Right. I felt a little bit of Caleb's anxiety around Red Markets because, we were so close and I was intimately involved in kind of the run up to and just like being there. But yeah, this is also... This is our thing, and so I want to die some nights about this. But the other curious thing is that you get so wrapped up in all of it. I mean, it is really a flywheel.
Well, the thing is, you get nauseous about it, and you're like, I should just work harder, and then you go redo the whole page, or do another video, or buy another ad.
Right.
You just work yourself through it in a constant frenzy until you hit launch.
And at some point, I just got blinders on, which is probably... I think that's probably
and then you stop being an atheist for a month as you pray to whatever God will hear you.
There are no atheists in Kickstarter launch months.
I mean, it is crazy. I mean, it's things like, like at first the idea was exciting to me, and it's like, I'll throw a couple $100 at like putting together a prototype and going to Metatopia. And then the next thing I know, like this weekend, I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh yeah, $1,600 for ads on Board Game Geek to get all the impressions that we need. Okay, great. And at some point I just put blinders on about the whole thing, and I just kept telling myself like, once you got into this, you got into it. So either, the only way out is through at this point is how I feel. And so we just are where we are.
Go home.
That's right. And so I'm looking at these things, and
that's the thing. It's not like we're letting freelancers go without pay or saying like no money for the work you've done.
Right.
It's very much like we've paid them
quite well.
Everything else is just out of your wallet.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh, we're well into savings on this one.
Well into savings.
I mean, not a great idea probably for my life. But part of that is that's two things. And I just want to be really honest. One of that is I hope, I pray, whatever it is, that we'll get our return on this.
Yeah.
The other part is, if
you didn't believe it, you wouldn't do something so insanely stupid.
Right. The other part is, other than the Mix 6, I've not really ever created a thing. Like, I've not made a thing and put it in the world. It's just not what I do. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a critic by nature.
Well, it is what you do.
Right. I'm really good at criticizing other people's things. Really good at it. If you ever want to get criticized...
fun.
Yeah. If you want to get criticized...
We have a whole Patreon about it.
At me. Okay? Yeah. And so this for me
almost was like you went to school for it.
Right, exactly. Advanced training in it. It was really important to me once I started to see the legs of this thing. I wanted to make this thing. Mm-hmm. I want to see this thing in the world. Yeah. And that is, I can tell myself 11 days out, that is arguably more important than getting a return. If at the end of the Kickstarter, though, we haven't gotten a return on all this, maybe I'll feel differently. Yeah. I don't know. See me.
Well, like all self-destructive actions,
that's right.
It requires a deep faith in what you're doing. And we have that for better or for worse.
That's right.
But you decide that, listeners. Party Fowl.
Yeah.
May 23rd.
Well, have you figured out? I kind of hesitant to bring this topic up, but have you figured shipping out yet?
Yes. So we are going to get them.
I know you're
CCE certified, right? And shipping wise, we are going to ship. We're going to do it like we did last time. Once the shipping cost came out. So at the very beginning, we're going to get a UK-based distribution service and a US-based distribution service. And we'll split the print run from the printer in China to the games we need to ship internationally will just go to the UK-based distribution service, which will have drastically lower international shipping. Now, I can't promise what that shipping rate will be, and it will still be charged separately through BackerKit because I don't know what the hell is going to happen between now and then. But it will be sizably less than if we ship them out of the U.S. And if I get death threats about it, well, they still haven't come from me yet. Bring it on. But
what are they going to do? Buy a ticket to come over?
Yeah, exactly. The other thing we have is that all of our stretch goals are going to be adding to the game.
Yes.
Like, so component
They're coming
quality,
out at the same time.
They go in the box. They all come out at the same time. There's not going to be separate packages of dice. There's not going to be stickers or T-shirts. So there will be one shipping cost for us in terms of dimensions of the box, weight of the box, because everyone will be getting the exact same thing or discrete additional units of the exact same thing, like 2 versions, 10 copies, whatever that is, which makes it a lot easier to calculate things. Because then you just have a single rate for every country, not a single rate for this package for this country and for this package for this country and for this package for this country, which is what we had with red markets, even with just the dice. The dice also were flagged as being made of polonium or something. I don't know. It was an international crime to ship them for a month there until I convinced everyone it wasn't. So that was a big deal, and we're not going to deal with that. We're just going to get the game fully CCE tested before it even hits the shelves. So I have learned a lot of lessons from the shipping disaster of red markets. That said, shipping is the literal devil. So there will probably be new lessons, and they will be Spencer's problem.
You're jumping on this grenade.
Yeah. Here's what I know.
Well, I'm throwing him on it.
Right. Yeah. Here's what I know. When Caleb was like, "Hey, do you want to reach out to the printers?" Like that was the first time in this process I was like, "Nope, not doing this anymore." But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Yes, I will figure this out. And if I can't, Caleb and I will figure this out. And so that was a really.
It's not like I'm not checking your work or like working with you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so you put together a really great RTQ document.
Yeah.
I translated all of that into the relevant fields of entry that a couple of the printers we reached out to needed. And it just so happened that like the printer that we talked to that was like the best that we talked to, and one of the few that got back to me, one of the only that got back to me actually, which was kind of frustrating,
that's printers.
Yeah, was super helpful and really responsive. And
if they don't want more work, they don't respond to your email.
That's right. Like just the fact that they were all over their shit, responded very quickly, and it's kind of a nerve-wracking thing if you've never been through that process before. So not only was there no pressure here, the printer that I was on the Skype call with, Google Hangout, whatever the fuck it was, he was like, "Oh, you could actually do this, and it would drive down the cost a lot. And I know you thought about doing it this way, but have you thought about doing it this way because it accomplishes the same goal and it's 30% of the cost?" And I was like, holy fuck. Going through a couple iterations of print quotes and working with someone on the other end who was genuinely looking out for opportunities to save money was one of the best parts of this experience for me.
Yeah, and cheaper per unit cost is something you look for in printer,
right?
But that's far after communication.
That's right.
Which is what you look for in a printer.
Yeah. Someone
that will respond to you honestly and quickly.
Yeah.
They're getting the job.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
After that Google Hangout, I was like, okay, well, it unless it's $100,000 more to print, we're working with them. Because they've been helpful, they've been responsive.
But here's the thing, it often isn't the case, because often if they're that quick with communication, they're just better at their jobs.
Right, yeah.
And they can do it at a better cost.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's the bulk of the logistical stuff up to now. We got print quotes. We got videos. We got a how-to video that Caleb put together masterfully. A lot of the last couple of weeks in particular have just been about like fit and finish, like polishing, making sure that when we start activating those Facebook ads in a few days. And when we launch that Board Game Geek ad on May 23rd to bring people to the Kickstarter page, that all of the stuff we've been working on over the last year, much of which we've already polished and put in a place to be seen or interacted with, is all working together very well. And that really has been the last part of this process, is just making sure the universe is done.
Oh yeah, this is infinitely more ready than Red Markets ever was. And Red Market still was out 3 months early.
Right.
So
right.
There's that. So yeah, we're good to go. About the only thing we don't have ready to go now is that we haven't commissioned art for stretch goals we don't know if we're going to print yet.
Right.
We've completely play tested those stretch goals dozens and dozens of times. We know the deck composition. We know how many cards are going to be on there.
So many pieces
we know how that's going to affect our print run in terms of costs.
We have an agreement in place to do the stretch goal art. We just
with
haven't
the printer.
paid for it.
We just haven't paid for the art yet, because why would I make Casey draw all those pretty pictures and then we don't make that stretch goal?
Yeah.
So that, and if you've ever worked with Casey Green, if we assign him 400 more pictures to draw, that's 2 weeks, maybe, because damn, he works. It's staggeringly fast. And I'm saying that as a person who works with a lot of artists at this point, and a lot of really talented, great professional artists for Red Markets, but fuck me, that guy can draw.
He is very prolific.
It's crazy. And actually, it's been so for a long time, Caleb and I, we talk about the need to work with people. We talk about them as Nopes. Leslie Nopes from Parks and Rec.
Yes.
People,
hyper-organized.
Yeah, super fastidious.
Super type A.
Want to get their shit done. And so I'm kind of the opinion that like Nopes have to work with Nopes. And I have been so stunned at and I think part of it is vetting and part of it is knowing good people. But like, we've encountered and worked with so many Nopes on this project, and Casey is at the top of the list. I mean,
and Cogswell, he's done a ton. Simeon from
he's been incredible.
Ton of stuff with Arc Dream.
Yeah,
just for like, we need this. I know you've never played this game before. I know we've never shown it to you before. I'll write it out in an email.
Yeah.
Done in a weekend.
Yeah.
Just staggering levels of like competency. So we've been really lucky and blessed on that end.
Yeah, there has definitely been, and part of our approach to this whole one of the reasons I think we were able to bring this thing from kitchen table to really finished, complete universe and product in less than a year is working with a bunch of fucking professionals.
Yeah.
Like people who take this very seriously as their craft. The marketing, the web design, the web development, the art, the layout. It's just been... This is the way. If we did another one of these things, I wouldn't go back to any like, hey, I know you, would you be willing to? It would be like, hey, I know you, would you be willing to? And here are the expectations, and if that means you need to get paid, then let's make this work. You know what I mean?
And one thing, regardless of how this ends up, it's giving me a better appreciation of board games in general.
Yeah,
because I always knew what went into like an RPG, especially when I got into Red Markets, but. Doing this board game, it's not a simple board game, and it like I said, it's got some pretty interesting strategic choices and some deeper mechanics and some variable modes of play, and we've play tested the shit out of that. But like, even looking at something simple like the game or the mind or something where the cards are just numbers, and you have to work on the mechanics, it's still just staggering the amount of work people have to put in just to get it into the world. Like, so I've got an even greater appreciation for like even those so-called party games.
Right.
A staggering how did they do that appreciation for like Scythe.
Oh my God.
And like more complex games like that. Like I'd love to do one of those one day, but I don't know if I have that many years left in my life.
I actually have an idea for one. I'll tell you about it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Just do a couple thousand hours of work on yourself and then show it to me.
Holler.
Whoa.
I'll look. I'm a little busy right now with my
Caleb,
duck
you're
game.
my nope. Like, I need to work with you.
Yeah. That's the reason we want to work with other nopes.
All right. Here's the one duck in the room, right?
Yeah.
So like so far we've described a pretty seamless process. I mean, a little hiccups here and there, that's natural, but like nothing major. And then fuck.
This is my shipping disaster, but it came before the Kickstarter.
Came before the
thing I'm like, why did I ever do this?
Yeah.
I need to move and change my name.
So
I'll go on the run with Ken Whitman.
Oh,
from the people trying to murder me.
So when we were at Metatopia, one of the things that I wanted to do, because I was very new to all of this, was attend a lot of fucking panels. Like, I just wanted to learn from people who have been doing this a long time. Obviously, I know a lot about it because I hang out with you guys, but I wanted to hear from other people, specifically who had done board games. One of the panels I went to was on legal issues in game design. And one of the things that this like really, really tight little wonderful presentation was like, hey, don't forget to check all this stuff. And one of the things was trademarks. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. So we're at Metatopia in November. I'm like, yeah, we should definitely trademark the fucking thing. And you're like, yeah, we should. And I'm like, you know what? I'll take care of it. Let's keep going, and I'll get it figured out. And
I was like, yeah, you should, just because you seemed really adamant about it, and you were going to do it. Because I come from the RPG space. I'm like, no one gives a shit.
Right.
Like, no one gives a shit about your idea.
Well, you also can't trademark, like, books like that.
Yeah. But, like, I was like, but, I mean, it wouldn't hurt anything, so go ahead and do that.
So we get back, Caleb's right. Everything grinds to a halt for about a month. And so couple things fall off my radar, and that's one of them, because like my radar is like, hey, let's get moving again. We've got to play test this stuff. We need to get some art figured out and some layout issues. And so then we are just like, it's April. I feel like we're in the home stretch, and I don't mean like home free home. I mean like I can see this like mountain that we just have to jump over.
Like the art's done.
That's right.
It's placed on cards.
That's right.
Like,
we got to get.
I could have a really good looking version of Party Fowl in my house by myself that I printed at Kinko's.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh man, I should fucking revisit that trademarking thing. So it's like the first week in April. And I talked to an acquaintance of mine who is an IP attorney. That's his trade. And he's like, oh, yeah, for sure. Call this guy about trademarks. He's really great. So I call that guy. And I'm like, hey, we want to trademark this. And I send him the logo and the mark and all that stuff. And I said, I'll be free I'll be free later today. So just, do whatever background work you need to do, and then get me on a phone and we can talk about paperwork, and I'll sign anything electronically that I can. And I am in a work meeting because, again, we're doing all of this in the cracks between actual work, of an evening or in the middle of the day, like on lunch. And I'm in a work meeting, and I have my computer up, and I get an email back from the guy, and he says, oh, man, hey, happy to help you with this, but it looks like Party Fowl, the game, is a no-go because 18 days ago, someone filed a provisional trademark for Party Fowl, Foul, the game, and ours is Party Fowl, Fowl,
it was
the game.
Foul, the party game for everyone.
That's right. Yeah. And my heart just like stopped. Like I just picked my computer up and walked out of said work meeting, no explanation, and instantly got on the phone with this guy. And I'm like, wait, what happened? Because we'd checked so many times. I mean, we were pretty diligent there at the beginning to make sure that legally we were in the clear on some of this stuff. And hot damn, 18 days. And so I messaged you in GroupMe, which is how we communicate during the day, because, again, we're doing other stuff. And there was just this, like, panic that set in. And I think both of us were trying to do that thing where we were, like, simultaneously burning everything down around us, but also trying to assure each other, like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, I was arguing with you. I'm like, well, it's a homophone.
Right.
We have ducks.
Right.
That game has nothing to do with ducks.
Right.
Ours, a game, is about partying.
Yeah.
That one is a party game for parties.
Right.
And it's just a theming issue, so we're fine. And you keep on telling me, and the lawyer keeps telling us, no, homophones are trademarkable.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's all over. I'm like, well, look, all we have to do is change all of the most important art, throw all of the merchandise and advertisement away that we've created so far, burn literally thousands of dollars and stickers and cards and T-shirts that we're currently wearing, and then we can do that while we get the game ready to go in the next few months. And so that was a rough couple weeks.
It was a 10-day window.
I drank a lot, and it wasn't to review beers. I'll tell you that much.
Here's a couple things that we did in that period in case you ever find yourself in the situation. The first thing that we did was cry and scream a little bit. The second thing that we did is we instantly I reached out to, like, my father-in-law's an attorney. I called him. I was like, is this the appropriate reading of trademark law writ in stone? He was like, oh, absolutely, you won't get a trademark. And I was like, motherfucker, why couldn't you lie to me? And so we instantly start going through a bunch of iterations of, okay, what if we just kept the whole thing and we called it Ducked Up, right? I mean, because like that was going to be the name of the expansion, and it's still on brand.
Or Drunk as Duck,
right?
Or
I mean,
anything else.
So we start like running through a variety of name
Drunk
iterations.
as Duck is actually pretty good.
Yeah. We had options.
It's fine. I'm not married to the name other than the fact that I've invested thousands of dollars in it.
Right. Yeah.
Other than the fact that I'm going to set a big bonfire of all the stuff we're going to have to fill a landfill.
Right.
We're going to have to go where they buried those E.T. Atari games and dump all our Party Fowl merch. That
was the trick. It's like I kept telling myself, I'm like, externally, there's not a lot of equity in the name. There's equity in Caleb and in us in the Mix 6
and us saying the wrong name for years as we promote.
Right, and then
a year,
right. And I was like, look, we can recover from this because the bulk of the equity in the name is stuff that we've paid for, but I don't think it's going to break us. And so we finally came around to, okay, let's change the name. And at the 11th hour, because here's the thing, when someone files a trademark, their name and address is associated with that trademark. And so we knew who had filed the trademark and where he lived, or at least the address that he put down for the trademark filing. And so I asked that attorney who'd given us the advice, that like, you're never going to get a trademark on this. And we went through every iteration of, okay, what if we do this and he sends us a cease and desist? Or what if we do this and he's like, no, you're not winning this shit.
And very early in the process, I said, what if he just doesn't care?
Right.
Like, because I know I really probably would not care.
Right.
Unless it was the exact same game with the exact same art.
Yeah.
And we're not even anywhere close to that.
Right.
What if he doesn't care? And the trademark guy was like, oh, no, he absolutely will care.
Right.
There's no possible way it will happen.
Yeah. And so, I wasn't willing to coin flip on not knowing if he would care or not, because like that's risky too. So at the 11th hour, we're getting ready to change the name. We're talking to Casey about changing the logo. I mean, at the 11th hour, you're like, look, if we're going to change the name, why don't we just write the guy a letter and ask him? And trademark attorney was like, don't do that, because then you'll be on his radar. And I'm like, well, yeah, but we're going to be on his radar for a game that won't exist if he says no. I mean, because we're going to change the name anyways. And it's, of all of the great things you've done with me, for me, as a human in the 14 years we've known each other, just being obstinate that we should write that gentleman a letter and see what he said is the greatest thing you've ever done. So we're at Moon City Con. You wrote him a letter.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, you wrote him a letter, like fucking FedExed it to him overnight or some shit on a Thursday or a Friday. We're sitting at Moon City Con on a Saturday. I'm playing in a game of Scythe. And you'd included your email address just in case you wanted to respond to us. And I turn around to look at our booth, and Caleb is literally running towards me. I've seen Caleb Stokes run precisely 0 times in the previous 14 years. Caleb Stokes is running at me, phone in hand, just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, holding his phone out. And so I just start reading it. And that guy emailed us the day he got the letter, I think.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, yeah, I don't see a fucking problem with this. That's cool. Yeah, go ahead. I'll even sign something if you want me to. And you and I just started jumping up and down.
Because gaming's full of cool people.
That's right.
Like, it's not a cutthroat industry.
That's
there
right.
are assholes, and they are extremely rare. The majority of people...
That's what the lawyer didn't understand.
Yeah, right. The majority of people just like games, and they want to make games, and he was very cool about it.
Super cool.
So Neil is great. He's going to be on Kickstarter soon.
Yeah.
If you like to back a game about partying, maybe you would like to back a game to play at a party.
At an actual party.
And that's going to be Party Fowl with a U,
right.
Not about ducks.
The party game for everyone.
Whereas ours is the game of drunk ducks.
Right.
So Neil was great. He's a super nice guy. And here's the crazy thing about it. Neil moved the next week.
Right.
Had we waited one more day to send that letter, or had I not overnighted it, it would have arrived at a dead address.
And we never would have known. We would have changed the name.
Yeah, we would have changed the name.
Yeah.
Probably not launched in time because God knows we're by the skin of our teeth right now.
It was literally, it was so like down to the wire on timing and how much it was going to affect our ability to get the game out when we wanted to get the game out, which was no later than the end of May, that we had ordered 400 Party Fowl stickers for Moon City Con. And we did not put them in the Moon City Con swag bags because we didn't know if we'd be able to call it that.
Yeah.
We found out the first day of Moon City Con that we could.
Yeah.
My wife went home, got the stickers, brought them to Moon City Con, and we started handing them out to people.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, that's literally how tight the timeline was. So that was the thing, right? I mean, that's been the thing so far. I mean, we've got 11 days left.
I think what I've learned from that lesson, aside from the importance of trademarking, is the fact that I think every time I do this, I'm going to learn some lesson, like you learn lessons from a kung fu master in a kung fu movie, in that it will be extremely painful But if you survive it,
right,
you're going to know not to do that again. Like it is very much like experience as a teacher like Pai Mei. Like it's going to laugh and harm you and cause exquisite levels of pain.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't kill you, you'll be ready for that one next time. Like, and I think that's for every project, no matter how many times you do that. That's my suspicion of this.
We have talked about a couple of other games that exist in the Party Fowl universe. We've talked about other games that are wry games about animals in odd settings.
Yeah.
And if we decide to move forward with any of those in the future, the first thing we're going to do is trademark the fucking thing.
But then something else weird will happen.
That's right.
And it'll be a new teachable moment.
So we've made it
which
through.
Which is what teachers call terrible things that happen.
That's right. We've made it through. Here we are. We're recording 11 days out from launch. You're probably hearing this on or near launch day. So if you've not already been to the Kickstarter page to back, we would love it if you would. There's also some really cool shit on there. And you know, this is kind of like, for me, the appendix to all this, which is, and not only are we launching a cool game, but because we've been working with cool people like Casey, you know, he's agreed, for example, to do a literal fuck ton of black and white sketches for backers of a certain level.
You want Casey Green, internet legend, man of This Is Fine Dog himself, to draw you as a duck.
And Dick Butt, don't forget Dick Butt.
And Dick Butt.
Right, yeah.
To draw you as a duck, you can hang that on your wall. You could sell that when you're old at an auction house. You could consume it for nutrients.
Right.
Do an Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, whatever you need
probably
to do.
would do that.
So, you know, we've been able to surround the product now with like a bunch of other cool stuff too. And so I am cautiously overly optimistic is where I feel right now, that we're at least going to get to a number that you and I have both agreed is the number we need to get to not just want to like burn it all down.
Yeah.
I think we can do that. Mm-hmm. If we don't, we will record another one of these where I talk about.
But the financial bullet is in the chamber. We have spun the cylinder.
It is what it is.
And the barrel's to our temple.
That's right. We're going to find out.
So go pull the trigger for us at Party Fowl on Kickstarter, May 23rd.
So yeah, when we'll be back, we'll have some duck shout outs and a Party Fowl anecdote or two. And I'm sure by this time I found some really great duck theme music that is Creative Commons licensed. So it will not be Vaporwave or Synthwave, just so you know.
Thank you. Duckwave.
Duckwave. Ooh, hottest new wave. So the so yeah, for every episode we have shout outs. So I thought I would start out with but we're going to do duck theme shout outs, you know, to celebrate Party Fowl. I want to start out by mentioning the new DuckTales cartoon, which I have not watched a full episode of, but I've watched a lot of clips of. David Tennant is Uncle
Duck McScrooge?
Yeah, Duck McScrooge.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Is it on something that
it's on
watch?
Disney.
Isn't it Scrooge McDuck?
Scrooge McDuck,
thank you.
Sorry.
Yep. I'm doing this thing where I switch people names around. Don't you know? Stokes Caleb?
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, they call him Uncle Scrooge.
I feel like I'm always taking a standardized test now.
So, yeah, no, it's got great animation. It's really
it looks
funny.
awesome.
And, yeah, David Tennant. So, doing a Scotch accent.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So that's one of my favorite fictional ducks. What about you?
Old school shout out here. One of my favorite cartoons growing up, Darkwing Duck. Mm-hmm. Just a ballin' ass cartoon, people.
Yeah.
Like superhero, yes. Super clunky, absolutely. Made a lot of like weird jokes, 100%. Great cast of characters. What a nice way to expand on a duck-themed cartoon universe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, as you know, I've done at least 4 years of research, much like Red Markets, to prepare for the theme of Party Fowl. And I would have to say, of the, just reams of duck literature I've read, it's going to have to be Howard the Duck is probably closest to our aesthetic. Yeah. He's sort of off-puttingly adult. He has the similar drinking problems as our ducks do. So,
comics or movie?
Definitely the movie. It was seminal in my upbringing. Yes, we watched Howard the Duck a lot.
Really?
Yeah,
weekly in my household for a while.
Really
into Howard the Duck.
Let me say this: that the single most exciting thing to happen in the MCU for me is when Howard the Duck shows up in a post-credit. I was screaming in the theater.
Yeah.
It was one of the greatest moments of my life.
That's Guardians, wasn't it?
You know, he's made a comeback in the comics, too. There have actually been a bunch of comics in the last couple of years.
That doesn't surprise me. He never should have gone away.
Well, the agony of influence. I didn't want to be too influenced by Howard, so I refrained from reading them until after the project.
You don't want to
I wanted to remain pure,
Yeah. I was kind of wondering who would. I didn't know both of you were super into Howard the Duck.
Super into Howard the Duck.
Interesting. And also, I mean, ducks aren't just in movies though, and TV shows.
They're not.
Yeah. They're in video games too.
Definitely true.
Now, my favorite duck-themed video game is actually Duck Game, which is put out by Adult Swim, and it's a multiplayer game of you're a duck and you're put in this battleground. It's sort of an 8-bit kind of or 16-bit kind of graphic aesthetic, side-scrolling platforming, and there's just random weapons all about, and you just like shoot other ducks.
The quack button is the greatest video game control scheme.
Yeah, there is a button for quacking.
It does nothing except make you quack.
I've never played it, obviously, because
most people end up dying because they're not shooting. Right. They're just bashing the quack button because it makes a really funny
it's
sound.
not just rock grenade launchers and shotguns. There's also there's a musket that you have to reload painfully slowly. There's a lot of comedy weapons in there. It's a great game.
I don't think that you can mention duck video games though without, Duck Hunt.
Well,
it's the original.
It is the original.
It's also, I look back.
There might be an Atari game, but
I don't give a shit. I look back on the use of the controller for Duck Hunt as one of the most innovative.
Zapper?
Yes, one of the most innovative things in the history of things.
Mm-hmm. Is it?
Absolutely, it is.
Not the power glove.
When Ray Kurzweil stands bodiless as a
cloud of sentient nanomachines.
That's right. Yes, he will plot for you he actually already has in the Singularity is Near in the Age of Spiritual Machines the development of technology
in which he claims Duck Hunt is the beginning of the Singularity.
He points to the zapper.
Are you shitting me?
Absolutely, I am.
Okay, I was like
at 120%.
Did you believe it?
Yes.
I can't tell with Spencer. I didn't.
You heard?
Yeah. I always thought you kind of like Howard the Duck. Wow.
I'm going to recommend a YouTube video I desperately wanted to use in our trailer. It's Baby Duck Chases Man, and it does what it says on the tin. It's a baby duck that is just assaulting this man as he sort of horror movie found footage runs away from it while focusing on the duck. And that duck ain't fucking scared.
Yeah.
He's getting after it. It's definitely a belligerent. That duck has been drinking, and it's very clear.
He's just left the party.
So I really wanted to use that, but it's not Creative Commons. So
the amount of duck footage that we've looked at in this process is staggering.
Yes.
What's also funny too is that when I talked to Joe and Brandon at Blend about doing the trailer video for us, they were like. So I sent them an email description of what we were looking for before we got on the phone. And then we got on the phone. They're like, so wait a minute. Are you looking for Reefer Madness, but about ducks?
Yes.
And I was like, oh, you got it. Yeah, we're cool.
That's definitely it.
And I thought their interpretation of it was fucking great.
Yeah.
It was kind of 80s hair metal, which is very in line with the logo that Casey did for us, out of thin air months ago. The first 10 seconds of it is just fucking, duck footage because that's where you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're in the duck part of your life.
That's right. That's right.
Finally, 2 last fictional ducks I do want to give a shout out to. One, I know you don't like, but one I'm curious about what your opinion is. The first one is, of course, the Affleck duck. Because
no.
Okay.
No to that. The whole gimmick there is that someone found an avatar for Gilbert Gottfried's voice.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, let's just do that for the next 27 years.
Gilbert Gottfried.
I start hearing Gilbert Gottfried's voice coming out of other animals and objects is to me the beginning of a horror film.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right.
That's like Drag Me to Hell. I ran over that witch and she cursed me, and now everything I hear is Gilbert Gottfried.
The creepiest scene in either It would not stand up to a duck walking down your hallway talking like Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah.
All right.
That is the first horseman of the apocalypse.
Speaking of horror, Count Duckula.
Okay.
All right.
That's what I do there. I go,
I like Count Duckula. I thought he was a very good.
That's a thing.
Yeah. All right.
We haven't mentioned like Daffy and Donald.
That we mentioned the universe that they're in, DuckTales.
In as much as we've talked about ducks and cartoons.
I mean, Daffy was real drunk.
Yeah.
Sailor.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly on them.
Definitely.
Yeah, constantly on a bender.
Oh, who is the better duck, Donald or Daffy?
Ooh.
Man.
I'm going to go with Taffy because he parties. Also, served the U.S. in the Great War. Yeah. So he's also a hero.
I think you've made a good argument. I just think that, like...
no, that's Donald.
Yeah, Donald's a sailor.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to go with Donald.
I am actually... I'm pro, like, Daffy Duck. I mean, I think that's like golden age.
He does have attitude.
He is the Vegeta of the Warner Brothers cartoon universe. He tries harder than Bugs Bunny, and Bugs Bunny just is always better.
So you've compared Dragon Ball Z as sort of like a cultural antecedent to...
No, I'm trying to relate it to today's.
History's dead. History's dead. We've learned now.
I think my personal theory is that the relationship of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck is what inspired the Dragon Ball Z Goku and Vegeta rivalry.
I would read that pop science paper.
Mm-hmm. I want to be honest with everybody. I wouldn't, but I do agree that.
How would you do citation in that one? Would you go for MLA, Chicago,
definitely
Serbian?
Chicago? That feels like a
MLA.
Chicago thing.
MLA.
It feels like a Chicago thing. It feels real out of left field. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So yeah, I think those are some fictional ducks to look at. If you're a little survey of the field before we introduce the cast of Party Fowl.
Hell yeah.
So finally, anecdotes. You guys have mentioned that you've had some interesting playtests of the game.
Yeah. So like everybody's said multiple times, I'd not done any of the like playtesting with strangers before. Hadn't really even done a con. And Metatopia is really more like a conference, not a con. I understand that distinction.
It's pretty small.
Yeah, and it's very interactive. Learning and testing heavy, which is great. Caleb and I have mentioned that we did 7 playtests of Party Fowl in 2 days at Metatopia.
Is that each or altogether?
Altogether.
So you did 3, he did 4.
Well, one of them we kind of tag teamed. It was not scheduled. We were just like cobbling people together because our philosophy was we're here. Let's play the shit out of it so we can learn as much as possible. And so it is literally the last scheduled playtest block of Metatopia. 2 straight days of either running games with Party Fowl or playing in other people's games, which sounds like a great day, but it's also fucking exhausting because from 9 to 10:30 or 11, that 14 hours, all you're doing is playing board games or teaching board games. This game starts at 10 p.m. the last night of Metatopia. It is our 7th playtest of Party Fowl. They've all gone swimmingly. I mean, pun intended. Yeah, we are over the moon. Everything's been great. It's 10 p.m. Everybody's really tired. Like, not just me and Caleb. Everybody in the room is fucking tired. And we start a playtest, and people kind of trickle into the table, and you just know you can feel in your gut sometimes, like, this is not going to go your way, man.
It was a real crew.
And so, the best way I can sum it up is one dude this is how not giving a fuck everybody was at this point. One dude brought a bottle of rum to the table, just sat down with it, and I'm like trying to play along.
And it's half gone.
Right.
Like, they were real not sober.
I'm trying to play along like, hey, well, it's a party game about drinking and ducks. And I think that was...
I got half of that.
Right, yeah. And I think that was like unnecessary fuel for the fire. Not that he needed any more. And so what ended up happening is there were 4 people sitting at the table playing. We got some of the best feedback I think we got all weekend from one of those people.
Yeah.
Like really meaningful, trying to play the game.
Yeah.
Somebody else who was there and was enjoying it, but could not overcome what was happening on the other side of the table.
Despite her best efforts.
That's right. Which was these 2 humans, who I'm sure are wonderful people maybe, who were very drunk and very tired. Because, again, a couple long days, not paying attention, doing the most suboptimal things that anyone could do to prove a point or to be an asshole. I'm not totally sure. I haven't been able to net out on that. While taking more shots of rum while they're playing. And it was the most painstaking hour and a half of my life. At one point in the middle, one of these 2 people owns an independent production company for games and makes quite a few games. And... he said actions, and one of the things...
I had stopped giving a fuck at this point.
That's right.
And was just being antagonistic.
Yeah, because it was going really poorly.
So, I said, I hate to stop you there, but I think what you meant to say was quactions.
And that
at which point
well.
He says, my favorite line I've ever heard in any playtest, I was going to buy this game from you and publish it until you said that.
Yep.
At which point we had to spend the next 45 minutes pretending we weren't laughing our asses off inside. It was which was one of the like, oh no, I fucked up with Gordon Gekko of the gaming industry. Jeff Bezos isn't going to carry us now because he's stumbled into Metatopia. La-di-da. It was like, you know the scene at the beginning of Willy Wonka where there's the 4 bickering old people that for some reason share a bed? Imagine you just sat down in the middle of them while they were having an argument and tried to show them a duck game, and that is very much what the playtest was like. It was that uncomfortably close. It was very weird. It was a very bizarre experience.
And then to top it off, he decided that he needed to give us excess feedback after the game ended. So Caleb and I were already, just side-eyeing each other the whole time.
Very drunk.
Very drunk and just not awesome at this point. And felt offended by, Caleb appropriately reminding him that we have a vocabulary around here, sir. And the feedback we got from him was some of the most mind-numbing feedback in the history of the world, not the least of which was, you should get a different artist.
Yeah, he told us to fire KC.
Yeah. And, he said,
and I'm like, he's pretty good, man. I like him. It's like, yeah, he doesn't have a name, though. I'm like, he does. One of the most popular internet artists on earth. He has 40,000 Twitter followers. Like, I am a nothing compared to him. On
you should get Mobius.
Yeah. Alex Ross should do the art for this duck game.
Right.
Hand painted watercolors.
That's the thing, though. Like, he even started showing us examples of other artists we could use, and some of it was like watercolor, muscled out characters from other games. And I'm like, motherfucker, what game have you been playing?
Yeah, it's like Van Art Duck.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So that was a literal nightmare. It was so bad that
for 2 people with social anxiety,
right,
for whom a playtest, even when it goes absolutely great, is still an ordeal that you need to recover from.
We walked back to the hotel room and spent the rest of the evening not celebrating all of the other great feedback we got, or like talking about next steps. We spent the rest of the evening talking about how that was objectively the worst playtest.
Critiquing the playtest. Yeah, I think we were 2 blocks away before we said a word, though.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure we just like knocked all the shit into a bag and walked out and just like silently patrolled the streets of New Jersey.
To process it
for a while before we're like, so that was fucking terrible, right?
Yeah.
We're like, yeah, it really was.
It was also a really important moment for me because like I hadn't done a bunch of this, and Caleb has been through years of this with Red Markets and other games. And so at one point in the hotel room, he says to me, no joke, that's the worst playtest I've ever been through with anything. And I was like, oh, good. Well, I'm glad that of the 4 I've done with you in 7 years of game design, I could miraculously find the bottom of the barrel.
Well, also, like, the thing, I think it's useful in its own way, though, because you were still new to the whole thing.
Right.
You were a little intimidated by some people playtesting it, and you were like, is it going too good?
Right.
And, like, when you got feedback, you're like, oh, man, are they just being too nice and the feedback's too bad? I'm like, man, nice playtesters is not something you should always expect. You're really rolling the dice every time. And like sometimes you're going to get negative criticism that you just have to throw away because it's not authentic.
Yeah.
And like you were just like, I don't know, I'm not really. And you were sort of on the fence about it. And then there was that one.
Like, oh.
It was like, oh, that. And you're like, that's what you're talking about. I'm like, yes, playtests like that.
Right.
You just need to find a trash bin for like that was for me an hour and a half long version of the playtest note I got for Red Markets was the theme and the mechanics are and that was the only feedback I got. I'm like, well, okay, what do I do with that now? And it was just that for an hour and a half of loud, drunken screaming.
It was also, you lose the forest for the trees sometimes because some shit is so ridiculous. And luckily, you're right. That cleared up any ambiguity I had around like, what playtest goes in what buckets, or what
was
feedback?
That too negative and unreasonable?
Right.
No, that was super constructive.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that earlier, person. Right. I found negative and unreasonable.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're not that? Well, I'll at least listen for a minute.
Yeah.
But that was also. It was after every playtest we had, someone at the table said they would buy the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like right now, like, oh yeah, I'd play this, I'd buy this. And that we got great feedback from one guy, and he was like, oh, I would buy this tomorrow. And I'm like, fuck yes. And then it all got lost on me. You know what I mean? Like, it was just smothered in asshole, pretty much. So all that to say, largely been a dream process. Some bumps in the road, not the least of which were the drunkest guy in the room trying to tell you that your KC Green illustrated duck game was not good enough for...
Needs more rippling abs.
Yeah.
For them duck ladies need to show off more cleavage. It was that level of... So
that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's been...
we can't top that anecdote.
No. Why would you want to?
So this has been RPPR episode 154, Party Fowl. Please check it out on Kickstarter. We will have the link in the show notes. And
thank you for all your support.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Even just listening and backing, though, even better.
All right. Talk to you guys next time.
The duck calls and swaggers with a silly grin. Quack, quack. He tells again to come again. Tonight we'll have fun and dance a samba, the samba, the samba. The big goose decides he'd like to come along. Quack, quack. To join the party with the song. Tonight let's have fun and join the chorus. Won't you come have some fun? Then when the sun goes down, instruments abound. What a lively sound. Chico chico no fupa. The duck is singing happily, a little off-key. Again, a moving tail feathers to the strong beat. I like the part when they all join together in unison, belting out the new song. Quack, 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 quack. Quack, 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 quack. Quack, quack. Oop-a-doo. Alegremente, quen, quen, quando uma reca sorridente pediu pra entrar também no samba, no samba, no samba. O ganso gostou da duplicou também, quen, quen. Olha pra si e disse assim, vem, vem, que quarteto ficará bem, muito bom, muito bem. Na beira da lagoa foram ensaiar para começar o tico-tico no fubá. Após o pato era mesmo de sacato, jogou de cena com um ganso era mato. Mas eu gostei do final quando caíram na água, ensaiando o vocal, quen, quen.